Brutal. Trey Gowdy just exposed them's biggest fear that would end Mueller investigation. It looks like the justice hound of the House Trey Gowdy is back again, and this time he has discovered something that Democrats don't want getting out about that dirty dossier on Trump. So Rep. Gowdy was busy doing his duty as the chairman of the Oversight Committee when bam, it hit him. He needed to see what the FBI and Justice Department saw in that dossier that made this whole investigation into the Trump campaign start in the first place. Trey Gowdy said that Dems are scared that the entire investigation into Trump was built on a piece of fiction. Gowdy told the Daily Caller, "I don't know why anyone, from California Rep. Adam Schiff, to Vanity Fair, to Rachel Maddow, would not be curious whether or not the world's premier law enforcement agency relied upon a dossier in connection with an investigation without vetting it. For the life of me, I don't understand why they are focused on this, unless they are fearful that the Bureau did rely on a piece of fiction." According to Trey, he thinks that Comey may have jumped the gun and started the case without vetting any of the info. It makes sense since the dossier was already disproven. If that is the case, then the entire investigation is a sham and Comey and Susan Rice and Loretta Lynch need to go on trial instead. This is a big breakthrough for Trey Gowdy and every conservative. Make sure everybody sees this.
At the time of your departure from the FBI, was the FBI able to confirm any criminal allegations contained in the Steele document?
Mr. Chairman, I don't think that's a question I can answer in an open setting because it goes into the details of the investigation.
There's a lot of questions that still are surrounding all of this. That was the former FBI Director James Comey back in June at a Senate Intelligence hearing, being asked about the infamous Trump dossier. Now the House Intel Committee is issuing subpoenas to the FBI and the DOJ. They want to know more about the origin of that document and what it was used for by the FBI. They're reportedly calling on now FBI Director Christopher Wray and Attorney General Jeff Sessions to testify if the information that they have requested is not provided. Here now, one of the people leading that investigation, Congressman Trey Gowdy, the House Intelligence Committee. Good to have you here this evening, Congressman.
Thank you.
So they want to see, they want to know, you want to know, and the American people want to know, if this dossier, which was later discredited or couldn't be substantiated at the very least, was used as the leverage to unmask people in the Trump campaign, correct?
Well, was it used to initiate either a law enforcement or counterintelligence investigation? Was that the evidentiary basis that the Bureau used to launch either a criminal probe or a counterintelligence probe? And it's fine if it were, if it weren't, as long as you let me know how you vetted the information in the dossier. So I need the Bureau and DOJ to say either we relied upon it or we did not rely upon it. And if we did rely upon it, this is how we vetted the information before we used it.
I mean, that's pretty significant. You know, you want to understand that if this dossier, and also the generation of that dossier, what did they know about the generation of that and who was essentially commissioning, who was asking for that dossier, right?
Who commissioned it is important. What's most important to me, I mean, if a friend is capable of telling a lie and an enemy is capable of telling the truth. Who commissioned it is important, but I'm much more interested in whether or not the underlying data was accurate. And the only way to know whether it's accurate is for the Bureau to investigate the sources and the sub-sources. And then I would think everyone would want to know, did our premier law enforcement agency, the FBI, rely on this document to initiate a criminal probe or in court filings and representations before a court? That is an eminently legitimate question, and I really don't know why it's taken the department this long to answer.
And so Jeff Sessions is now the Attorney General in charge of the DOJ, and he's having trouble getting the answers to this information?
I'd be shocked if it's made it up to General Sessions level yet, but I bet it will shortly, because next week is coming, and that's when House Intel Committee wants either, what we want are the documents. We don't want the drama, but if you're not going to produce the documents, you need to come in person and explain to us why the entity that created the FBI is not entitled to provide oversight over the FBI.
Yeah, and in terms of James Comey, Senator Graham has said that he has to come back. There are things he needs to clarify. What are those?
Well, there is evidence. There's a basis for which to question Director Comey on whether or not he reached a conclusion with respect to Hillary Clinton before he interviewed all the witnesses. There is more than an evidentiary basis that he reached the conclusion before he interviewed her. So it is, again, not illegitimate to ask a law enforcement officer, did you make your mind up before the end of the investigation? If you're ever in a courtroom, the one thing the jury will tell the jury, the judge will tell the jury, you cannot make up your mind until the last witness has testified. And the reason for that is the last witness may tell you all the information you need to know. So how you can reach a conclusion before you've interviewed all the witnesses is befuddling, and if that were done, or if it weren't done, Comey deserves a chance to explain it, but Senator Graham deserves a chance to ask the question.
Congressman Trey Gowdy, thank you.
Yes,
Always good to have your update on this. Good to see you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.